Radhika said this will be a recorded thing and she insisted I come up with a review on paper. Last time we met, so I did my homework. And so, and she also told me I'm not going to speak for more than 7 minutes. So, I made sure, I stick to this.
Prosecute those who have eaten your time.
That later. Okay, so this is an interesting narrative in terms of what Anand Neelakantan had written. It's very gripping, this is racy. And Ajaya is a book, it's for a person who is unaware of Indian mythology. This is purely, let me say, this is just what I have believed. This is purely my comments. Okay, you can, they might come out as, I don't know, you can have your own opinions about them, but then, I leave it to you. But, I'm just being very candid about what I have to say about people writing about Indian mythology, interpretation of Hinduism per se. So,
the same person who's written Asura.
Yes, this is the second book. I read Asura too. I don't know if I like it, but so let me not talk about that, but let's talk about Ajaya. Okay, so this is a narrative that's gripping and racy. Ajaya for a person who's unaware of Indian mythology, I would say, and more precisely, the great epic Mahabharata, with its overtures of divinity, is perhaps an excellent and enjoyable read. This is my opening statement. If I do not know Mahabharata, and it is not for me a great epic, and for some reason, whether I am a staunch Hindu or not, if I didn't know anything about Lord Krishna, if I knew nothing about Indian mythology, probably this is a very nice book. So that's my opening statement. So I think I've actually set the tone for what I feel about this book. Now, but it's surely not for those of us who have a degree of godliness and reverence to Lord Krishna. Howsoever this faith in Him, the Lord, is minimalistic. Okay, I wouldn't say I'm a staunch devotee, but yes, I believe in Lord Krishna, so I totally condemn this kind of writings. So even for someone who didn't know about the Pandavas and the Kauravas, the story is a narration from the point of view of Suryodhana. For me, it had always been Duryodhana, it will continue to be Duryodhana. But for most of us, I'm sure, but then it's Suryodhana as far as Anand Neelakantan is concerned. And the effective strategy of the foreigner Sakuni from Gandhara, who successfully initiated a war amongst the cousins and eventually saw to the decimation of the clan up to the last line. Okay, so this is perhaps what it is for someone who didn't know about Pandavas, Kauravas, Mahabharata. Probably, yeah, it's about how somebody could strategically, being a foreigner, take revenge and try to completely decimate an entire clan. Yeah, that's probably for somebody who didn't know Mahabharata, but not for me. And the story does reveal to a common man more on the heroes or villains, depending on one's perspective. Okay? For instance, Ekalavya, Jara, Karna, Balrama, Takshaka, Vasuki, and Parashurama of the Southern Confederate, all these people have had their share of mention in this book. And in a perspective, for us, yes, Dana, Veera, Sura, Karna is somebody who, Karna is we all know him as that. Yeah, but then, you don't exalt somebody, and that's what the author has chosen to do. By and large, I heard everyone say good things about the book. Everybody was in praise of it. And how the author was inspired by the community in Kerala that worshipped Duryodhana for his gender equality, ideas on untouchability and outcaste. So there is a particular community in Kerala where Duryodhana is worshipped. Good, I'm glad. But, and that's what is this inspiration. Now, coming to the point of view about the book, keeping aside my personal opinions or my leanings, I was quite disappointed with it on two main pretexts. Okay, I expected, if you're writing a book talking about Ajaya, okay, which is about the Kaurava clan from their perspective. I thought it would probably be nice if it confined itself to family and politics minus the divinity and righteousness. Okay, everything is fair in love and war, so probably they shouldn't have spoken about divinity and righteousness at all. But then instead what I felt was the author was continuously focused on turning the tables to portray all the good guys of the Mahabharata, which we know as bad guys, and vice versa. This was my take home from this book. So everybody I knew was nice and good, like Arjuna. I was actually in love with him for a long time as a young girl. I suddenly realized he's a villain. No, he's not, but then that's what this man says. Okay. Now the protagonist, Suryodhana for Anand Neelakantan, was made to appear as a good-natured, doe-eyed idealist who eventually had to show his true colors and nature, howsoever justified, when the actual role of the dice did happen. What of modesty of women then? He innuendo, taunts, outraging the modesty of a woman, as also commenting on her personal life. He eventually did do that. Even Anand Neelakantan, who kind of was trying to exalt Duryodhana, could not escape from the fact that eventually he did it. He did outrage the modesty of a woman in public, and he should have been penalized and rightly seen. Okay, now after a few chapters of the young cousins and Karna's episodes with the Bhargava Parashurama in the Southern Confederation, where he goes there to learn the warfare, I somehow felt, in my opinion, the author's intention, or rather his motive, got just very evident. He just wanted to refer to the social evils and influence of the foreign hand praying to the West. We have Shakuni always praying towards the West. Now, I'm not sure if that is not having any kind of a political or racist intonation in itself. It does. Now, the concept of both these aspects as the cause of all the trouble around the Kaurava clan is rather cliche, in my opinion. Okay, on the second count, why, in spite of it being a wonderful, racy book, extremely thrilling to see, and it's very fast-paced, yes, the good side of it. Use of the language that's used against Krishna or the Pandavas or Mother Kunti is as blasphemous for me as a Hindu believer as it is of Mother Virgin Mary or Prophet Muhammad for those of other religions. So I seriously condemn the kind of language that Mr. Anand Neelakantan has chosen to use in this book, because, and I think if you cannot use it against other religions, nobody has a business to interfere in my religion too. And that's one thing I strongly believe, and I don't think it's nice to hear you calling my God names, okay? And having a point of view, freedom of speech and expression does not, in the true sense, again as a lawyer, as somebody who's a scientist but then chose to be in the field of law, let me be very candid about it. Freedom of speech and expression does not, in the true sense, allow you, in this case, the author, to use foul language and insult our gods, big or small. Okay. Now we have temples in our dharma for Kunti. I don't know how many of you know about it, but there's a beautiful temple in Mahidanga in Uttar Kashi district for goddess Mata Kuntima, and of course we are all aware of it, the so-called hypocrite, as far as Anand Neelakantan is concerned. Yamadharmaraja's son Yudhishthir is the one who's supposed to attain salvation. We all believe in it. So the Mukti Marga, the Moksha Marga are certain things we do believe in, and I don't think somebody can actually interfere in my faith either. Okay. And distortion of mythological facts using social context of relevance to the present day to a bygone era are to be seriously condemned. This is my personal view. We are talking about a different yuga per se. We are not talking about the Kali Yuga, we are talking about the Kauravas. We are talking about the Treta Yuga, we are talking about Ramayana and the Dwapara Yuga. We are not talking about the Kali Yuga. So please do not talk of untouchability of that era with the present context. It doesn't really fit in. Now, personal opinions and translations, of course, encouraged. Yeah, I would like a lot of debate on should we have done it, should we not have done it, should the war actually have happened, should Bhanumati, Duryodhana's wife, actually tell Duryodhana, share with him that Draupadi did apologize for her behavior at Indraprastha when Duryodhana visited them, or could they air about the Lak house in Chakrata district of again Uttarakhand, where you still can see the Lak house. Was it intentional? What exactly transpired? Could probably this kind of miscommunication or lack of communication probably could have avoided the Great War. But then again, that's a different question for those who are having better knowledge about mythology and karma, siddhanta, whatever you call it. To talk about. I'm not an authority in that, nor do I intend to talk about it because I don't know about it. But then, at the same point of time, I do not believe in, trying to distort facts. Distortion is completely different from having a personal opinion and transgressing from the basic storyline or basic fact as has been mentioned. Okay, if a scripture is religious and if a scripture is actually having, let me say, some kind of a relevance for a particular religion. Okay, I'm trying to use my words very carefully. Okay, and this particular relevance has and holds a lot of meaning to people believing in that. I do not think anybody can actually distort those facts. Now, and then of course, because in this particular book, I think, but in this particular book, the author has, in an attempt to make the protagonist, right, yes, here the protagonist is Duryodhana. Everybody knows the story. I'm not getting into the story of the Kauravas and, the war and everything else. But then, it has hurt the sentiments of the believers of Lord Krishna. And that's something that was my take home, and I went back very dejected with this book. Besides, such distorted versions should be banned in this country. I strongly believe we should ban them. And the author should actually apologize for his one-sided version defining our belief. This is my take on this. Now, on the other hand, the impact of such works have on young minds can be devastating, and their belief can get misplaced. I actually asked my daughter to read this, Adanasha. I asked her to read it. And she sent me an audio of her review, which I'll share with Dr. Radhika later on. So she said, Ma, I know, I don't tell her Mahabharata, like I had to listen for various reasons, but then as an answer, she did have to understand a little of mythology and stuff like that. But let me tell you what she felt. That's my next generation. She's 18 years, so it's the next generation. I'm old. She said, I felt disoriented. Now, I don't really know if I might be right, but the context of doing the right thing is also very important. This is what Adanasha had to say. Now I said, okay, probably, she's right, I agreed with her. Then she said, why is he talking about somebody else's gods? Same thing. So I said, maybe this is my daughter, so she's voicing pretty much what I say. Though I haven't discussed this review with her. So I went and gave this book to my mother, she's 70. I asked her to read it. Because I didn't want to be wrong. In terms of reviewing it, yes, I might have a personal opinion, but then if somebody is saying it's an amazing read, then there must be something wrong with me. So I asked my mom to read it, and my mom said, I think you should not even bother about it. She read the book, and she asked me about this author. Then I said, he wrote one more book, Asura. Then she said, I think you should not even bother about it. Then I said, okay, I'm going to say this in the review meeting today, so I'm sharing with you.
Asura is distortion of Ramayana.
Absolutely, I've read that also, but that's even worse.
Yes.
So this book is a must-read for those who have read the Mahabharata, so as to notice and analyze the characterization of the different roles and how grey and shallow they are, as also to start a movement to arrest such constructs of imagination with socio-cultural justifications which are but superficial. This is what is my request to the community at large. I'm glad we have a larger audience today. I sincerely apologize if I have made a statement which is hurting anybody's sentiment, but this book has hurt me a lot. So this is one of the reviews I have to, I'm glad I got this chance to share with you. Yes.